The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the Alternative Dig Talk. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
We President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba lya kilo 5 oyannema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the Alternative Dig Talk etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugendo maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop and smart TVs as we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the Alternative Dig Talk.
Sawa emwe kumacha mbaniza ku program The Mighty Drive mwebale kubanga mwekumiddeko ndozo lunakuba lero Monday wiki mpya omwezi tunatiro okuba emabega mwebale kubanga mukyali ku program The Mighty Drive bingi ebyadde bigenda maaso gyotabadde mu ggwanga bingi nnyo naye mazima ddala tutuuse ku lunaku luno era tugenda kuba tukusoosootoolera ku bimu ku bigenda mu maaso eyo gyotabadde bannange wasuza otya omwezi gutambulidde gutya omwaka gukubadde gutya ndoza twogera tugenda kuba tuyingira omwezi ogwokuna April amasanyu ga Easter season gaba gatandise okulabika buli wamu kyemanyi kati amaazi ali mukategeka ejo yabadde Palm Sunday olunaku lw'amatabi kati weekend bagiyita Holy Week ebeera week ya kubeera holy kwetukuza nga tulina Katonda waffe Yesu Kristo okuva we yazuukira okuva mu bafu. Good Friday yali egenda kubeera ya Friday no then ku Easter Sunday tugenda kuba tugicelebrating nga tujjukira Yesu Kristo we yakonkaringa amagombe oba we yawangula amagombe n'akomawo naye nga tetunabayingiramu ebyo byonna bintu bingi ebibadde bigenda maaso mu ggwanga banji bintu bingi vaccination yatalisee twalabye ng'omukulu bamu vaccinatinga twalabye owa speaker bukyalimu amatankane naye byonna tugenda kuba tubyogerako ku program The Mighty Drive ngaye mukimanyi abasinga oba njagala kubajjukiza nti olunaku lwaleero tulina omwami Bernard Mona okuva mu ggwanga erya Ghana. Ono omusajja akola bingi ali mu green climate change ali mu politics omusajja ali mu PNC ekibiina ekiri eyo mu ggwanga erya Ghana. Tugenda kubeera naye wano ku program The Mighty Drive nga tunyumyamu naye nga tubulya ku lugero lwe nga tulaba engeri gye tunaba tuluyigiramu ng'abantu fenna naye nga tetuneyongerayo kambajjukize International Coalition for Human Rights Defenders ebajjukiza oli mulwanyizi wa ddembe oba oli human rights defender in any way oyina weetaaga obuyambi osobola okugenda wali ku Semawata Road awali offices abo osobola okwayisamu kasimu n'obabuuzaako n'obagamba buno obuzi buliwe buti ne balaba engeri gye basobola okukuyambamu naye nga program The Mighty Drive tuse olunaku olwaleero Monday akakuba katonyerera era akyali ewaka kyemanyi wali badde otambula ne manvuuli oba omuzungu gyayita umbrella oba osobola okufuna ekigirikooti n'okiyiwako mpola mpola n'osobola okuba ng'oyingira ekibuga naye era ngaawe twasuubiza eggwanga okuba nga tuli ono ku program The Mighty Drive. This is not just a job to us, it's a purpose, it's a vision, it's The reason as to why we wake up every day to what we know kuja tubawereze wano ku program The Mighty Drive. Remember page eri The Alternative Uganda ku Facebook ne ku YouTube osobola okutusangako tuli The Alternative Uganda. Video ne wetaafe mukose Arnold Anthony aziyiwayo mpola mpola era oba ozeetaaga osobola okugendayo n'olaba ndowooza twakyazaako PL Olumumba Friday yaggwa yonna interview gyeri ne Justice Kanyihamba gyeri Bernard Mornah gye tugenda okukola olunaku olwaleero egenda kubeerayo, so oba weetaaga okuba ng'olaba videos zino feel free to just log on to our social media platforms at The Alternative Uganda on Facebook, at The Alternative Uganda on Twitter, and at The Alternative Uganda on YouTube. Enda chikandoza ziri 11 ezakayita ku ssaawa emu ey'okumakya. Katika tuyingireko ku mawulire agabadde gatambula mu ggwanga lino Uganda. Bintu bingi bannange ebadde biri mu ggwanga muno, ate ne wabweru w'eggwanga tugenda kuba tulunyayo katonotono nga wetumanya biki ebibadde bigenda mu maaso. Katutandikireko mu ggwanga lino twalabye President Museveni ne mukyala we First Lady Janet Kataha Museveni bafunye vaccine, bafunye first jab yaabwe ya vaccine, babakubye eddagala vaccine ya COVID-19. Bantu bagiradde boogera mu ggwanga lino nti bannange ye nga tebamukuba omukulu ne family ye tebannagikubako, naye tulaba atuteekayo abamu nga bonna bali skeptical oba nga bonna tebakkiririza mu process eno nga bagamba osanga bintu si birungi, osanga vaccine eno teri safe. Naye President Museveni kabwejumbira Ssaabalwanyi watera okweyita yeyakulembeddemu luno olutabaalo olwa vaccination n'afunayo aka COVID-19 vaccination jab ke akasoose. Jjukira bakuwa doses 2 oba bakuwa vaccine eno after a month or after 28 days babagenda kukuba dose yo ey'okubiri. Basooka kuba ne ba frontline workers mwe mwali abakozi abakola mu malwaliro nga mwe muli ne ku some dignitaries. Minister General Thachingi wa health yasookera ddala okufuna jab eno nga bakagyeta AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. Ebigambo bingi byali byogerwa ku vaccine eno mbu bagigobye mu mawanga agamu tekola bulungi, erina side effects, ereetinga blood clots, abamu ereeta mild pain and illnesses. Naye byonna President Museveni n'abasajja bano aba Ministry of Health baavaayo ne babiwakanya ne bagamba babasibako matu ga mbuzi kubaliisa ngo. So President Museveni yavuddeyo n'afuna COVID-19 vaccination jab ye yasoose yabadde wali mu State House n'agamba n'abantu nti vaccine eno eri safe era abantu bagyeyunire okuba nga tugoba COVID-19 mu ggwanga lino. Naye okujjukizaako COVID-19 ono abadde yagwa nnyo mu ggwanga lino eya Uganda. Ndowooza Namboole eyo yali esigaza abantu 14. Mulago ebadde tekyalina abantu bonna era baali bacontemplatinga COVID-19 centers zino ziri Namboole ne Mulago basandike okuziggala bannange. Tetumanyi oba aweddeyo oba just abadde asiriseemu oba abantu bali immune to this particular disease tetukimanyi bulungi, naye wetwogerera nga vaccination yo yatandise n'omukulu yakafunyeko. Mu Kenya eyo ndowooza COVID-19 yo abadde yaliisize enkumbi. Twalabye nga some of the bars n'amasomero n'ebirala byonna batandise okubiggalawo nga bagamba ekirwadde kino kyadde kyazeemu okutabaala buto. Ate waliwo ne new strain eya COVID-19 yazze on market, nakubantu banyi okutwogera yazze on market eri awo etambula bagamba ate eno yo si nyangu ddala. So nga tuvuddeko mu nsonga eya COVID-19 vaccination bannange naawe bajja okukubaka vaccine yako making sure naawe okkiriza bakakube mpolampola tulabe nga eggwanga lyaffe tukola ki tujjamu COVID-19. Mawulire amalala ndisa wiiki ewedde ku lunaku olwokutaano Justice Kanyihamba yalaunching akatabo ke akasatumukamu wali ku Imperial Royal. Omugenyi omukulu yali Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament bamuyita Olanya Gilbert Olanya Gilbert Olanya bannange Jacob Olanya sorry yalaunching akatabo naye nga guest speaker yali omwami PLO Lumumba okuva mu ggwangiri yake. Namumanyi nnyo omusajja ayogera nnyo ku constitutionalism, ayogera nnyo ku Africa is a Pan-Africanist. Yaliwo mu ggwanga lino Uganda okugracinga event ng'omwami Justice Kanyihamba emyaka 80 mu obukulu nga launchinga akatabo kakasatumukamu bannange. Awo mu katabo ako bingi ebyayogerwa akabamba agamba bannange tutandike okuwandiika obutabo omuntu owandiika history yo baleme kugikuwandiikira because when people write for you your history some of the history is altered. Bayinza okuwandiikako ebimu byotakkirizamu nga gwe. So mu ngeri eyo Justice Kanyihamba yalaunching akatabo ke The Evolution of Constitutional Law, Public Law and Government. akatabo kakasamuka nga twongera ku bwino engeri eggwanga lino gye litambula musajja abadde yatuwadde bwino mu biseera bye. That is why I can say we have celebrated his life and he has lived his life. He's not just thrived or survived, he's actually lived. So twalaunching akatabo ke wali era number 12 because the Alternative Uganda fe abakulemberamu mu kino ekyokulonkinga n'okutegeka book launch eno twali wali ku Imperial. Omukolo gwagenda bulungi, it was a success. Gwajjula abakulu baali bangi abajja ba Frank Gashumba twabalaba, ba Dr. Amama Mbabazi batwabalaba, Dr. Miriam Matembe, Dr. Nabat Mao, Agre Awori, abantu baali bangi bannanga baali ku guno omukolo era it was a success. Abaamisinga mu video tujja kuba tububawa, wali abadde bansindikira mu inbox mugamba mwagalayo kakopi ka DVD nja kwanyogera n'omukulu wange producer Mukose Anthony Asoke alabe engeri gyasobola okubuwa baninga nabuteeka ku CDs nobeera nabwo n'olaba omukolo engeri gye gwagenda speech zaali zitya because it was a colorful event right there on Friday. Twanyumirwa olunaku olwo zaali nnaku z'omwezi za 26 nga tuvuddeko awo kasooke tufulumeko wabweru w'eggwanga ekiri Myanmar kiri kitokotasi kisaanikire omuganda wasobola okukyogera. Myanmar is experiencing a lot of bloodshed. Abatamanyi eggwanga lya Myanmar lino eggwanga lye baali bayita Burma. Oba ojjuka eggwanga lye bayita Burma, abasajja abondoza abasajja ba UK be baba colonizing awo. Burma was really another state that had a lot of friendliness and a lot of insecurity. Naye byazzeemu bannanga abantu beekalakaasa bagamba ab'amagye bakutowiiza, naye ab'amagye bano bakyalina support nyingi. Balina support ya China, balina support ya Russia, balina ebintu bingi, abantu bangi babasupportinga. Naye ate olwera ne ba democratic states nga England nga USA abadde bakyawakanya occupation yaabwe. Abajunta abantu manyi bagamba junta babategeeza bannamagye abaawamba. Ne wano mu Uganda tulinamu bajunta nabo be baawamba era ne Myanmar bannamagye be baawambye obuyinza, naye bloodshed kati abantu ekikumi nombo bikumi the registered case number of people mulimu n'abaana bana. It's really so heartbreaking to see that on planet Earth you're still having people who are dying, who are passing on in such a manner, young children at that, infants at that, not just young children but infants, toddlers badde bafiiridde mu particular mu kwegugunga kuno. Sina kwegugunga ndoza abantu bali mu kulaga butali bumativu bwabwe okubanga baba occupyinze bannamagye ndoza sanctions zatandise no okutambula mu Myanmar mu Burma omuli zikampuni ez'abamagye. US yatandise okuziteekako envumbo, UK yatandise okuziteekako envumbo. Katika tulabe retaliation egenda kubeera wakati wa China, Russia, that is the eastern states, the communists at large, then nebano ba democrats, ba democratists, or ba liberalists, ba United States, United Kingdom, nesendela mu Europe ba manyika tiao that's called the conflict of interest. Bonna bagala kubeera nga balaga nti ideology yange ekulembera neyo no ekulembera naka tulabe kinabe kigenda maaso mu Burma naye bannange bannayuganda n'abalala bali obweru bwanga batulaba tubanyi abalaba alternative bangi, mulimu abali South Africa, mulimu abali London, tulina bangi abali mu Egypt. Bonna babeera batustruminga bannange tusabire Burma oba tusabire Myanmar because the bloodshed is still inevitable and it is really something that we are not proud of. Over 100 people have gone down the drain because of this particular insurrection that is happening in Burma or in Myanmar. Nga tuvuddeko mu ggwanga erya Myanmar katukomewo mu Uganda, the race for speakership etandise okunyuma bannange. Olaba omuntu agamba ngu Uganda chinyuma. Uganda is really an exciting state. So as we are speaking right now, the race for the speakership is on. Honorable Jacob Olanya, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, and Honorable Semujunganda. There's also one Chibalama from the Democratic Party. They were actually tongues and priests is a speakership. Twalabenga omukyala Kadaga okuva Busoga bamwendosinze kyekisoka parliamentarians of Busoga region bonna bamuwa the green light that you are our member of parliament, you are our speaker. So we are behind your back in this particular endeavor. Honorable Kadaga twalabenga yes wekituwe kyatambudde speaker Kadaga bamwendosinze ono omukyala yavuddeyo n'agamba tagenda kukkiriza any cabinet appointment president gyagenda okubanga okulekawo bwa speaker. yagambye ayagala wa speaker tatatesanga kontina agenda kubeera speaker ebisanja bibiri byokka ekyali takyogerangako yagambye ebigambo byenyini yagambye ekyo yali takiteesangako so abali ku ebyo muli kirabika muli ku byammwe era agambye tagenda kukkiriza bwa vice president oba kifo kyonna kimagalamuwa mu cabinet ayagala entebe y'obwa speaker naye bannange there is something that is about power that I don't know. Power is addictive. Abantu bonna buli omu ali awo waliwo omukulu gwe baali babuuza nti naye bannaye naawe Elias Lukwagunga entebe eyo gimazeeko obudde bungi n'agamba nti kati waliyo atusibye Museveni atusibye eyo waligenda naffe nga tugenda that is something that is really ironical. Abagoba mu buyinza n'abali mu buyinza bonna tebaagala ku it's just like you're just playing a game. Some people have earned their positions in opposition, and some others have earned their position in the proposition. So katulinde tulabe naye nga ye Kadaga yagambye tagenda kukkiriza kintu kyonna ate n'agamba nti no already alina ababaka bisatu 300 MPs abali behind her. That means if she has 300 MPs she has already won. Alina ababaka bisatu abamuli emabega naye ye omwami Jacob Olanya yavuddeyo n'agamba nti woba olinaabo lwaki okyakampeyini sigala wali otuule anti ogambye olina ababaka bisatu lwaki okyakampeyini so yavuddeyo n'agamba ebyo ali mu kwesubya talinayo ba members of parliament. Katulinde tulabe naye kati I'm looking at it in a dimension like is the opposition going to support their opposition candidates Mujunganda, or they are going to really go underside with the NRM with Rebecca Kadaga abantu bwe babagambye because nawuliddewo omwami Alan Sewanya muzambaka wa Makindye West tuli emakindye leero omwami ono yagambye nti aba opposition balina okwegatta balageko ka competition luli baali ababaka nkaaga naye baayimiye emabega wa opposition ne bawera ne bakuyega bannaabwe ne bafuna ababaka 120 for the opposition member parliament. Why don't they do the same for Semujunganda? Because let's speak the truth, Semujunganda is also an ideal candidate. Chichataina no speaker chibetaga techiriho. He literally has everything. So katulina tulabe opposition ye naagwawa banasigala ku cause banasigala ku mugendo. Omanyine opposition ya Uganda enyuma waliwo ekibuuzo ekibadde kiwungesebwa mu ggwanga lino nti nno waliwo omubaka we Kyaddondo East ndoza omubaka muwaddanku nnyingi baadde bamuwadde miliyoni nga 5 asooka resigninge bannange Kyagulanyi asobole okujja mu parliament abeere leader of opposition naye kiboozibozi sinakikakasa naye muwaddanku nnyingi mbu yagambye tagenda kubanga resigninga kifo kye. That is how the power twists in this country are very funny. And in this scenario from I don't see any change in government anytime soon if the opposition is still like this. Natweyongerayo ndooza ku ddakiika zino ezakayita ku ssaawa emu ey'okumakya Uganda Cranes leero egenda kuba ezannya ttiimu ya Malawi. Jjukira Uganda Cranes ezannya Burkina Faso wiiki ewedde ne bagwa amaliri. Burkina Faso yo automatically yali ku points 8 naye yogera ku points 1. That means they are already qualified for the African Cup of Nations. Naye Uganda yeetaagayo ka point kamu. We need an away point and or if it's a win, it's a win-win. Tuba tuwangudde kiba tuyitamu naye twetaaga point emu bwetyo kubanga tweyongerayo mu AFCON. Naye bagenda kuba abavubuka the lads the Uganda Cranes are going to be taking on Malawi right there in Yaounde. Ndowooza mu Malawi bagenda kuba bazannya eggwanga lya Malawi olunaku olwaleero bannange tutuninge in UBC mpira ogwo kimanyi ejja kuba egulaga live, KBC ejja kuba egulaga live ne ku Facebook page ya Uganda Cranes bagenda kuba streaming live, Facebook page ya Ifufa bagenda kuba streaming live buno mpira bannange tugende tuwagira abalenzi baffe naye nze I have utmost faith that the Uganda Cranes are going through to the AFCON finals. Ekyo nkikiririzaamu ddala nti no we come Cameroon 2021 tugenda kubeera gye tuli eyo nga tunyumirwa nga abaana bazanyi because I have faith in the Ugandan team. These boys know what they are playing for. They really know what they are good at. Nzembakirizamu tulinawo Dennis Masinde Onyango. He brings his experience and expertise in goalkeeping. Tulina aba Nicholas Wadada. Tulina Chaya who's good on form, who has been on a fabulous form so far. Wali ku Tipi Mazembe. then one of Uganda Chris one of the match that was on Burkina Faso by shots here and there crosses as Sala so Ochaya tuna hali duwali ali center back ne motion juko a partnership express ne Vipers abana be waka it really brings more pride to Uganda Premier League as the center back is really good. Farida ucho yete bamukiriza okujja mu nkambi ku nsonga ezitategeereza bamagalaga ne politics naye nga kyo official statement ya FIFA yagamba yagana okujja mu nkambi okuva ku airport yagenda straight away kusooka okuya ku manzaali so bamu suspend za makati awo tujja kuya ne Mike Azira ajja kubawo ne ba usanga simanyi bulungi naye katulabe Mike Azira olwo omwana Moses Waiswa yajja n'alaga a good of impact in the game so katulabe oba banamuzanyisa Moses Waiswa oba namugattako ne Mike Azira kijja kuba kitambula bulungi oli maaso of course MOP abeerawo Farukmi abeerawo Abdulmona teyazanya bulungi naye tulina Ibrahim Orit from the Vipers omulenzi oyo naye akompira bulungi nnyo so katulinde Uganda Cranes because I believe in our team abaana babokosi Karuhangaa bonna bali mu nkambi enkambi yo yajjudde abaana bali happy batusedde Malawi sawa zino twogerera so as we are speaking katulinde tulabe ekinavayo ku lunaku lwayo naye Uganda Cranes is taking on Malawi so tugenda kubanga tukyajjukira kukyali ku program the mighty drive amanya gange mbeera wano tulina ku Monday to Friday okubanga tulinamu kukozi mbeera n'omukyala Farida era ku nsonga voltage ekomawo olunaku olwaleero ne saawa emu eyakawungezi paka saawa 3 ezakawungezi tugenda kubeera wali ensonga n'abalese bapanelists bajja kubeera waawo nga banyumyamu ku politics wa Uganda ndooza ku nsonga eyo yennyini omwami Kyagulanyi ndooza wakufulumamu ku ggwanga lino on a 4-day working visit in African country tebayogedde ensi kyeno gyagenda okubeeramu naye agenda kuba meeting aba fellow struggleists and other African leaders this 4-day working visit outside Uganda omwami spokesperson wa NUP Joel Senyonyi yavuddeyo ne gana amawuli n'agoogera naye tetunnakakasa eggwanga kiri agenda okubeeramu bani bagenda okumeetinga naye yagambye agenda kufulumako for 4 days on a working visit so yagogegawuli agava mu NUP naye era nga tukyali mu NUP Kyagulanyi yagenze n'alaba abakadasi abali ekitali eyo jjuka ekitali ejjuddeyo abantu ba NUP bangi abantu baleka bawere abantu nga 43 over 43 people have been incarcerated in Kitalia prison era Bobwen yavuddeyo n'agamba bamwami Kyagulanyi ono ye president wa NUP era ye leader of opposition yatwogerera kati yavuddeyo n'agamba nti omanyi bantu bayita mu bingi abantu balwadde tebafuna medical attention ebiku yagambye ebiku biri eri bannange bibayisawulira abantu beera ku blankets obutono naye to some extent in Africa that is the cost for liberation. You can never get power on an African continent on just a silver platter. You have to go through that. I'm not saying it like in a way that is disrespectful, but that is the cost. In an African setting, in an African democracy like this one, my dear, you have to rub through the mud in order to get what you want. We saw some President Museveni fighting for over 16 years. Kwa Museveni yalutandika rwanda 1971 kasita amini yakwata obuyinza teri yamanyi oba yakirabamu atya oba amini yalina buzibu ki because the first day Amin declared his presidency in Uganda who occupied President Museveni was sure to go to the bush okulwana so twamulamangalanye emyaka 16 he fought for what he had. I'm not advocating for violence or fighting, but I'm just saying that getting power in a country or in a setting like Uganda, of course you have to grab in the dirt and make sure. So if you look at a maso mwechitali Uganda abantu balwadde tebafuna ddagala ddungi, tebafuna personal doctor, tebafuna makerenda, bafuna antibiotics, bafuna painkillers. Naye nagamba tebali bulungi naye nagamba still strong bakyalina omutima ogw'amaanyi bakyakkiriza mu kibiina kyabwe bakyakkiriza mu koosi yabwe edakiika ezakayita mu kusawo naye zinatera okuyingira ezaabiri tukyali ku program namaitimaamanyanze akakuba katonyerera wano obuziga bwe tuli naye kyemanyi naawe bannange funa kajaketi osobole okubanga oyingira emirimu gyo oba oyingira Kampala tukazane kubanga tojja kukazana teri kuzikiza abavubuka ennaku zino bagamba ndowooza kugiga ku mawulire agasinze okutambula mu ggwanga erya Uganda newabwene eggwanga naye bambiranga tukyali wano e Kampala omukyala Dorothy Kisaka ono Kampala District KCCA Executive Director Dorothy Kisaka yavuddeyo n'alonkinga the Kampala Smart City garbage collection management magenda kwanga watandika okukasasiro okutagwa otemukiriza kubanga agala mumanyi kibula Kampala kino nekikibigala badde agenga enyoya okutomala okulya ekyokulya akafeera okasuka tukasibana bino ebintu binatandika kubyekubirizanga ffe. You shouldn't expect someone who has tell us that, you know, after eating something, get the rubbish and put it in your trash can.
Yes, Professor.
Trash anywhere. It is a systematic way. You take it to the trash can. Trash can. Garbage collection point.
Professor, we are sorry, but we are supposed to host the guest in the van. Because even the show is on and we had arranged that he's supposed to be in the van today.
Dorothy Kisaka, Executive Director of KCCA, which is Kampala Smart City Garbage Collection Management. Making sure Kampala.
Talk to Norman because we had the program even before he flied in the country.
Program, the Charlie the Mighty Driver, Edgar, Mathew, Karuhangaa, Charlie one of the Mighty Driver, Kakuba Katwanyanga in Abagambia, Tulibuziga wano, Chibuga Chomami, Alan Sewanyana, Makinde West, Tuliwananga, together Kwani, Bennett Mona. Tishan is an activist. Feel free to log on to alternative and also go to Bully. Nakulo Lucha or Lucha, Chicho feeling a plan to Naziriwa, Nakuari or Makapuno, Zazanga is falling into place because sometimes consistency, persistence, into a success. If you're consistent in what you're doing, and if you're passionate about what you're doing, and you are persistent about what you're doing, success will always follow you. Every day, if I'm doing the same thing and I'm passionate about what I'm doing, I'll have good returns at the end of the day. So now, all you are better consistent. A day will come when something that an illumination highlight will come for you. I think our Omami, Vice President, sometimes
Professor,
to where you want. Consistency later, you want having a passion. Ochagala yana chikuyamba okugenda mu maaso okukulakulanya ng'omuntu kikuyamba okubanga oluusi Kyagulanyi yagamba bamalako be bamalako lemerako ojja kumalako yagala kyokola ojja kumala ofunemu era keera buli kumakya ate bannange tutanga okusoma because without God we are the program ekyali the mighty drive ndoza ngenda kubanga mpumulamu katono naye we tukomawo tujja kuba n'omwami Bennett Mona wano ku set n'omukyala Farida Bikobere nga tunyumyamu nga bwe tuyiga waliwo atera okwogera ku TV emu mu Uganda naye amanya nze Edgar Mathew Karuhangaa. Let's go for a short commercial break. When we come back, it is Bennett Mona, Edgar Mathew Karuhangaa and Farida Bikobere for you. This is the Mighty Drive. Good morning.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the Alternative Dig Talk. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
We President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyannema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the Alternative Dig Talk etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugendo maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop and smart TVs as we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the Alternative Dig Talk.
The world is at a critical moment of providing innovative alternatives as a means to create change.
As such, we have created a not-for-profit alternative mobile digital platform as a way to promote space for freedom of speech and expression to the unheard voices.
We know you believe in the cause and you can further it more by contributing to its sustainability in forms of internet data, fuel and any other support you deem relevant.
Please support us with your contribution to Equity Bank account number 103-5201-607252 under the name Alternative Digital, or our mobile money numbers 0702-900076 or 0783-047785. Alternative Digital, real issues, real talk.
The world is at a critical moment of providing innovative alternatives as a means to create change.
As such, we have created a not-for-profit alternative mobile digital platform as a way to promote space for freedom of speech and expression to the unheard voices.
We know you believe in the cause and you can further it more by contributing to its sustainability in forms of internet data, fuel and any other support you deem relevant.
Please support us with your contribution to Equity Bank account number 103-5201-607252 under the name Alternative Digital, or our mobile money numbers 0702-900076 or 0783-047785. Alternative Digital, real issues, real talk.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Farida Malungi mukwano atukereddeko ku mpewo zaffe za the Alternative Digital. Farida Bikobere is my name, and today I am with Edgar Mathew Karuhangaa. Well, today I have a guest that is a Ugandan, but he's an African.
Of course.
Yeah, he's an Ugandan, but he's an African from West Africa, to be particular, from Ghana. So we are going to be using English because he doesn't understand Uganda. So our show will be in English throughout. Our Uganda speakers, our Uganda viewers, we are sorry for today. We cannot use Uganda in our show, but we shall be, I'll be translating a few of the words to Uganda so that you also enjoy the show. Mr. Bennett Mona from Ghana. The other name I wanted to pronounce, and then my heart said, what if we pronounce it wrongly? And then I'm like, okay, let me leave it. He will pronounce it for us, and then we pick it from him.
Yes.
Edgar Mathew Karuhangaa, good morning.
Good morning. Are you feeling the rain and the cold?
I was already prepared for it, and I am feeling the warmth in. So, what do you know about Ghana before we get to Mr.
One
Mona?
thing I know about Ghana,
If it is not Genevieve
Genevieve is from Nigeria, right? I think Ghana is one interesting state. I've liked the way they have mastered the art of transition power. Like, it can change. They have a democracy that is really so exciting at that. So it is a country that we learn from, and the other thing I know about Africa, I call it the best because these boys know what to do. They know how to, they professionalize their football as well, because I'm a football fan personally. So Ghana is an interesting state, and it's also interesting to be having Mr. Bennett Mona. The middle name I won't also pronounce. I'll just ask Mr. Mona to just pronounce it for us.
Pronounce the name for us.
Allow me to welcome Mr. Mona to the Mighty Drive. Mr. Mona.
Before you welcome him, we have to give a few details about Ghana. What is the capital city of Ghana? Accra. So Ghana is the second largest producer of cocoa. I remember my senior geography. We used to study the cocoa growing in Ghana. So this has brought me to Mr. Mona. Now we will discuss Ghana in detail. We are going to have some learning session. We are going to learn a few things from about West Africa, and then we are going to just pause Ghana and Uganda. We are going to see whether we can have a united Africa. So my friend who has not joined us, you have, like, the page is the Alternative Uganda. Please like the page and follow us, and then in our comment section, please write your question. I'll be reading it to Mr. Mona, and he will be answering you directly. Ghana was the first country in sub-Saharan Africa, by the way, to get independence.
1957.
Yeah.
Led by Kwame Nkrumah.
So with those few details, you may welcome our guest in the studios of this show.
Let me welcome the guest, Mr. Mona. You're welcome to the Mighty Drive. It is a pleasure to have you on the show today.
It is a pleasure as well to be hosted in a novel studio. Let me let our listeners know that I'm right sitting in a van. I'm not in a static studio. This is a mobile studio, and that we are driving through Kampala as this interview is being conducted. I want to wish you well for this novel idea. I think I have to send some people from Ghana for internship to come and learn this model, because it's exciting to see that you can pick people from home whilst they are on their way to their offices. You can finish the interview, they arrive in the office, and they continue their work as if that has done.
Do you have an innovation like this one in Ghana?
Not to my knowledge, and that's why I think that I'll send some of my aides to come and learn this concept as well, so that we can have some partnership of some sort, some collaboration, to see how we can link
that will be
alternative Uganda to the alternative Ghana, to see how it will work. My name is Ambatayela, and this is a Dagari word, Mona. Now, Ambatayela in my language means who doesn't have a problem. Who doesn't have a problem? And I guess that you have a problem, Farida. You too have a problem.
You also look like you have a problem.
I do have a problem. I have a problem because of the way things are happening in our continent and in the world globally. And sometimes I'm very agitated because I think that the global economic order is not permitting the rise of the young people and their potentials to lead. And I think that the global economy is also now a war economy. Those who will be able to spread war are the people who are making the wealth of the world. So you go to the United States of America, it's a war economy. They have to devastate some other countries so that America can be well. You go to France, you see that they had to devastate Libya in order to sustain the economy of France. You go to Russia and then they have to support wars. So the world is beginning to become a very aggressive and a violent place simply because some economies have to survive. And at the same time, there are weak leaders who are unable to speak to say that enough of this silliness that is going on in the world. And I feel very agitated. So I have a problem indeed.
Okay. Let's start with who is Bennett Mona? Someone out there would want to know, who is this gentleman? What is your story? Who is Bennett Mona?
It's a complex story. But before I go to the Bennett Mona story, I am not excited that you say that in the recent Africa Under-20 football championship, Uganda managed to come to the finals, but again Ghana had to wallop them.
Under 21, even back in the day in 1978, the final we were the only final we've reached in the AFCON. We met Ghana and Ghana walloped us.
Ghana, we have to wallop you to tell you that there is a long thing we cannot compete with you. Is the long distance athleticism, and I think that the two of us have come a long way. I'm happy that the continent is picking up. Now, who is Bennett Mona? It will take a long day, but let me make it short. I was not privileged because I was born in the capital city of Accra. My father had worked as a shipman, we call him seaman. Later he accepted to work with Ghana Commercial Bank as a steward. He got married to my mom. They had 3 beautiful children, and then there was a break in relationship around 1982, 1983. And my father, who was just a low worker at the commercial bank, could not see how he will allow his little kids, I was then about 7 years ago, to be crossing these unguarded roads with motorists running recklessly. So he chose to take us to the village where he could hand us over to relatives. Then he accepted him a watchman because he could not get official transfer because of low ratings. So he became a watchman. I don't know how you call watchmen here, at the Wa Regional Hospital. And so he was a watchman. So we grew up in the village. I was now exposed to real life. And I say this with a bit of pain and also excitement.
You're the firstborn?
Yes, I'm the firstborn. So what then happened was that when we got to the village, you know, living in the capital city, there is a WC, you attend your nature's call, you use a toilet roll and all that. The first shock I got was I got to the village and I felt like going to toilet. And then they gave me a hoe to go and dig. And so I had to create my own manhole to ease myself. I didn't even know how to handle a hoe. It was the first time actually seeing a hoe. So some elderly person had to come and do it and say I should start over it. And then it took me a long time because it was uncommon. I couldn't. But hey, I was in pain, so I managed to ease. Now I was like, I don't have toilet roll. And then they went and looked for a tax of the corn to come and give me, and I was looking at it, what was I going to do? So my father had to walk from the room to come and say, hey, this is how it is done here. So, you know, it devastated me, it weakened me, and was like, I was in a new hell. Life became very difficult because around that time, Ghana had suffered famine, and so we did not have sufficient food in the country. My father's income could not support anything, a watchman's income. And I had to trek. I had to move from school because school was not available. I walked 16 kilometers every day to go to school and back. And when
7 years?
Yes, that's 7 years. 16 kilometers every day to walk to school and back. And because my father was working at the hospital, there was a kitchen staff that prepared food for the sick in the hospital. So I tell people that I had to survive on kitchen leftover. So when they carry the food to the wards, serve the people, and then the sick persons, they eat, and then there was a leftover. They brought it back to the kitchen, and that is what we could eat. We did not have a home of our own, so we found some uncompleted building, and then we patched it up with some plywood, and then we lived there. Somehow, when our results came, I had passed my junior high school examinations into secondary school. I don't know how, because you can't use the moonlight as your source of light to study and expect to pass. But I
was about to say that it's just impossible.
Yeah, but I passed to secondary school, and in secondary school, then I became a bit conscious. So I was a very defiant student because I was also smallish. People wanted to bully me, and so I had to show my full element that you can't bully me because of my size. I went to secondary school successfully, went into sixth form. Just when I was in sixth form, my father, who was the watchman, died. And so family responsibility landed on me. So I had to do my first, what we call national service. I think you call it youth service. So in that service, I had to then take care of my other siblings, one of whom is now a professor in the United States. And then later I went to the University of Cape Coast. I worked at Internal Revenue Service. I left and went to the University of Applied Sciences in Berlin. And I came back to Ghana doing farming predominantly, but also engaged in political activism. In my politics, I became the national youth organizer of the PNC. Subsequently,
before you enter the politics, you have to speed in Uganda. It's not to speed. You're taking us so fast. But before we reach there, Farida, before you interject, let me first just ask this question, because it has really, as you're talking, it has been running through my mind. How did the experiences you went through as a child, such an emotional turbulence you went through, how did it affect the man you are right now, for a youth that is out there? Because your story does not differ with many stories of many Ugandan children, many African youths right here watching you at the Mighty Drive. So I would like just you to throw more light on how did that story of yours create the man you are today, before Farida comes in?
First and foremost, I felt that I have a responsibility to salvage my father's poverty and the conditions that we found ourselves. And therefore, I thought that there was no other solution, particularly when the person that I admired most and I wanted to be like was a pastor called Pastor John Bagonluri. And what did he have? He had just a motorbike. And it was my determination that I should have a motorbike. But I looked around the environment, and it was because he was educated. That is why he could acquire a motorbike. So my determination to also one day sit on a motorbike forced me to do the unthinkable, to learn beyond what I was expected to do, because I made up my mind that no, I will not stay in the village to be eating tobacco and other things, and that I must ride a motorbike. So later, I didn't get anywhere. Then I realized I could buy a motorbike. Then I saw two of my brothers who were, we call him, he later became Chief Dogoli, and then Brother Lankono. They were driving similar, what do we call it? No, patrols. And I I must have one of these patrols. And how could I get it? It meant that I needed to up myself in my... So I personally motivated myself, because I looked at some people as I should climb to their level. And in order to do so, I had. Now, don't forget that in the community, you have to do community eating. You have to share. I call it communal eating. You have to share. You do communal planting. You do communal everything. Communal cleaning. So I grew up from a background where communism was the order of the day. And so later in life, I realized that no, the political system that we have was very adversarial. It did not permit the general rise of society. It was targeted at individuals getting well. And it was not the best. So whilst I was working at Internal Revenue, people who came from my own background will come and we want some money to go and take care of our sick old person. We want some money to go and cater for somebody who could not attend school. And these demands on me dawned on me that no, see, why are they not having money? why is our agricultural system so bad? Why is our educational system incapable of handling the majority of us? Why is our health system so bereft of ideas that poor people cannot attain health care? So it means poor people should die. So I realized that the problem was that politics was the determining factor, and that if you don't do politics, politics will do you. And I'll tell you why. So I said, no, I had to move away from working in the public sector, which is working as a revenue worker with the Ghana Revenue Authority, then Internal Revenue. So I moved out and decided, excuse me, to participate fully in politics, because politics share the spoils of our society to everybody. So as I said the other time, the quality of education is a factor of the political leadership. The quality of agriculture is a factor of the political leadership. Even the quality of your hairdo is a factor of the political leadership, because in this hairdo, you pay taxes. These taxes are direct or indirect, which, by the way, are determined by the politician, because the politician will have to. So when you decide that you will not do politics, what I tell you is that politics will do you, because you will consume the badness of politics. Because those who are not good, that venture in the political arena, and because they are not good, they will do everything to make politics look bad. So good people now shy away from the political participation, the political space, and then bad people occupy it. But the good people will now consume the bad policies that are evolved by the politicians. So I said, no, I can't sit on the bench. I have to come to the field, play with it. And I'm happy that when people ask me, your political party has not won power, then I tell them, yes, I'm not part of the mess that we have gone through as a country, because I've shown determination that those political parties that have won elections are not the solution to the problems of Ghana. And therefore, even as my party has not won, I am convinced that I am not part of those who have voted for those who have brought these bankrupt ideas that has depleted youth energy and wasted our talents.
When do you join active politics?
In the year 2000, when I actually went to the university, and then I realized that sometimes, in fact, my professors will tell you that I was a very notorious student, because I could challenge some of my professors. I have suffered the wrath of my professor. Unfortunately for us, when you challenge a professor on something, then you become a target. And so some of my professors come to teach me some things, and I'm like, no, I will accept it only for exam purposes, but I'm not convinced that this is the way it is. Then they are like, get out. I said, yeah, it's better for me to walk out of your class than to consume what I describe as poison. And that's not only in Ghana. When I was in Germany, I was being taught about African history. And if my friends in Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Nigeria are watching, we school together, they will tell you. And then this American professor was telling us about the lofty benefits of slavery. And I just got very angry, agitated. Then, I just jumped out of the class and I said, you don't know anything. How dare you come and tell me that slavery was beneficial to the African people because it brought enlightenment. Enlightenment was with Africans when you people arrived. You people are sadists. And I started talking, I said, have you ever visited any of the castles in Africa? If you come to Ghana and you see that where the priest was preaching for the colonial government, the secretary to succeed, down where he was dropping his shit, his urine, where the slaves were, they were virtually surviving on the shit of these people. And you come and tell me that slavery was of benefit? I said, you have no idea, when you say this, the pain that it brings to me. Right now, as I see you, I'm studying in your country, but I see you as somebody that I should just get up and give a blow. And then the professor says, sorry, Bernard, this is not what I am reading to you, what I have learned. And you are bringing the other side of it. So tone down, I'm on the same page with you. But it's good to learn. I'm just wondering, if it were to be an African professor, what they would tell me. They would rather get angry and probably sack me out of the class. But this American then said, no, I didn't know this aspect. So it is good. Probably I have to come to Ghana, go to Zanzibar and Senegal to learn these practical things that we are talking about. So I have this passion of saying that I will not just consume what you have given me, but I have to go through it to be sure that what I'm going to consume will be of benefit to my soul. And so that penchant is the reason for which sometimes I go out in my struggles.
Okay. So Bernard, I've really, listening to you, I know that the whites want to tell the African story, to tell our story, but they don't accept the Africans to tell their own story, because we know how to tell our story the African way. That has brought enlightenment to me. But can you just talk about the PNC, the political affiliation you subscribed to? What is the PNC, and what is the stand in power for the PNC and other political parties? Why haven't you guys yet? Why haven't people received your ideologies and given you office and take you to power?
Well, we are the direct offspring of the original party in Ghana. I call it original party because Kwame Nkrumah brought political parties into Ghana in 1949, yes, when the youth decided to form the Convention People's Party on the 12th of June 1949. And the CPP was the vanguard political party that led us into independence. In the struggles of Nkrumah, you do know that he was an uncompromising figure. And so the colonial government found him an unwelcome customer. And so they arrested him, they locked him up, but whilst he was in jail at the Usher Fort, he still could pass pieces of messages as political messages to the people. So he was contesting then in Accra Central. And whilst he was in jail in 1951, they conducted elections and Kwame Nkrumah won, not only to represent the people, but he won majority. His political party won majority. And therefore, the colonial government had a decision. This is a prisoner, he is incarcerated, but he won elections, his party has won majority, and he needs to be released to come and lead his party, or we keep him to suffer the wrath of the citizens. So what then happened was that the colonial administration released Nkrumah. Nkrumah in 1956 again went for another elections, and he won massively, leading to the independence declaration on the 6th of March 1956, which of course is something that we are proud of. Subsequently, Nkrumah was overthrown by the machinations of the CIA and other Western interests. Of course, they found local collaborators to overthrow him on the 24th of February 1966. That's when the world had seen that Nkrumah was not only sending Ghana to a different level of an independent and self-made nation, but that he was sending out a political message to the rest of the country. He was awakening the consciousness of all the African people. So they thought that to allow Kwame Nkrumah to continue to stay would mean to awaken the African consciousness, and that would mean that the Western colonialists will not be able to continue their dominance and looting of the African state. So they had to come at Nkrumah with the force that they could. So they overthrew Nkrumah in 1966. Now, when they overthrew Nkrumah, they of course installed a puppet government in Ghana. In 1969, we did an election. The CPP and the Nkrumah, in fact, Nkrumah's photos were banned. You could not carry even a photo of Nkrumah. You were seen as a criminal if you carried a photo of Nkrumah or spoke about Nkrumah. People who decided to defy it, one of them called Moses Boy, was carried as an animal, put in a cage and driven through Accra for people to see how criminal it is to want to portray Nkrumah as an icon. Then the CPP was banned. So in 1969 there was no CPP, and so the opposition element, obviously they were aided to win the elections. In 1979 they banned the CPP still because they proscribed it from participating in political elections. Then came the PMP, which we call the People's National Party, and that represented the Nkrumah's fraternity, and they won the 1979 elections with the founder of the PNC that I belong, President Liman. Unfortunately, just exactly 27 months, President Rawlings, then Chairman Rawlings, orchestrated his coup d'etat.
That was 82?
81, 82, because it was on 31st December. In Accounting Palace, it means 1st January 82. So Rawlings overthrew President Liman in 1982, and again proscribed the PMP then. Not until political agitation, international pressure mounted, and in 1992 we acquiesced to political constitutionalism and accepted multi-party democracy. So Liman then founded the PNC. So I tell people that from Nkrumah came Liman with PMP, Liman brought PNC, and so all those who have Nkrumah's tendencies are expected to align with the PNC. But just as is happening in Uganda, you have people who are rented political parties. So what then happened was that Rawlings, realizing that the PNC, if it came, would be a difficult one, then made it difficult. They now created mushroom political parties to be able to compete out the space of the Nkrumahs. So now you have multiple Nkrumahs political parties, and therefore we are like fragmented. So we have the CPP now reintroduced, we have the PNC, we have the GCPP, we have the PPP, which is the Progressive People's Party, we have the APC. All these things, all these political parties come from the stock of Nkrumah. So you see that many people who want to vote for the Nkrumah's ideas are now confused as to how they are going to vote. And I remember one of my ex-teachers, one day came when I was contesting for parliamentary elections. He said, Bernard, I love your idea, I love the Nkrumah's spirit in you. So I have voted for you in the parliamentary race. But for the presidential, you have Ivor Greenstreet for the CPP, Edward Mahama for the PNC, Dr. Indum for the PPP. So I had thumbprinted for the three of them. The Electoral Commission can decide to share for them. What it meant is that he spoiled the presidential ballot simply because they were more than one Nkrumah's political party. And this has happened in many instances. So one of the reasons why we are not able to progress is that we are fragmented.
But yet you have the same cause.
We have the same cause, and yet we are unable to come together.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't
because
know.
That is a challenge.
Because it is the ego of some persons. Because some individuals feel that first they have the wallet, they have the cash, and by virtue of the cash, it means they can lead. And therefore, they use their money to muzzle their way into leadership. But leadership is not about the cash. It is about the potency of your ideas. It is about how you communicate ideas. It is about the charisma and the personality. And sometimes I say that, look, you have to get the awareness that there is also a spiritual calling to this.
How do you think people vote ideas?
Well, to some extent, yes. To some extent, to a larger extent, no. Because if they were voting ideas, I'm not sure.
Have voted for you.
I'm not sure that in Uganda you will still be maintaining a president since 1986. But they don't vote ideas. In my country, they don't vote ideas as I want it to be. They follow the euphoria. Who has the money, who can do jamboree, who can do this, who can... Of course, if I go on a campaign and I go and talk to people, presenting all the lofty ideas that I have, and then you come and meet the same group of people and say, no, I have been called for another function, I'm not able to speak to you, but I've arranged that they should give you some packed lunch. They should give you some drink and some transport to go home. You will forget about the lofty ideas that I have shared with you and say, this guy is a good man. She is a good woman. Look, she came, we were hungry, she offered us food. She gave us transport. Wow. This is the kind of leader that we want. I mean, it is common practice. And so those who are in the helm of affairs and who have the cash are able to do this, and they continue to take away the shine from those who have the ideas. And that is why we have bad politics. And I encourage the good ones. Don't go and sit down and say you are a professor of medicine, you are a professor of law, you are a professor of agric. Your professorship is of no value when the political decisions that affect your sector are taken by people who know next to nothing.
You're going to run for parliament, right?
I did run.
He did run and he came third.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he came third.
And I was walloped, you know.
But we would excuse you. In 2016, you stood, and it was your first time.
Yes.
And you lost.
Yeah, lost.
That is excused.
Yeah.
But in 2020, you still stood.
I stood.
And you came third.
Yes.
Where is the problem? Are
I
people
don't-
not understanding who you message?
No, one of the things that they told me is that, look,
we love you just by your political party. Then I said, what has my political party got to do with my capacity? You go and vote for somebody who has a big political party, whose political party can oil the system, but the person goes to parliament and is virtually a vegetable, is not able to articulate the concerns of our people. So our struggles will continue to magnify because the person to go and speak for us, to go and struggle so that we can get liberated out of our problems.
Yes.
That person is incapable. But you say because he belongs to a certain political party
affiliation,
and therefore you vote for him. So I have no problem. What I tell the people all the time is that, look, I offered myself, you declined me, you chose what you want. We have to all survive by it. I don't feel very bitter about it because it's an election. You can't go and force people. There are a few of them. There are a few of them that say, look, they defy their own political parties. Because, for instance, if you go and take, I'm sure the statistics you want to put up, if you go and take the 2012 elections, my presidential candidate in that elections got 114 votes in the entire constituency that I represented. 114. My parliamentary candidate at the time got 169 votes, whilst the person that won got over 14,000 votes at the time. I got him, and I got 5,000, close to 6,000 votes.
That's a lot.
That's
That's already
within
an
a
achievement.
Okay,
That's already an
that
achievement.
tells you that people from the other political parties who are conscious, who also know that I have the capacity and capability to lead, also voted for me. So I should be excited. So if you take it from that angle, then you know that people from other political traditions believe in you. But it takes time to be able to mature all these people to say that, look, let them up their game. And in the last elections, I'm sure that you've seen that I've been arrested severally because I was in opposition.
And you said you don't fear to be arrested.
I didn't fear, and I still don't fear to be arrested. And as I told the police on one occasion, I said if it was my life they wanted, I was willing to hand it over as a certificate or a trophy. But the ideas that I represent, I will never compromise on them. And I stood by my words when the police invited me to come to the police. I went, and then when they played the video and said, you said these things, I said, yes, I said them. It was a 37 seconds video. I said them and I stand by them. I have nothing more to add. You can't kill me.
And we will have to learn a few things from his statement. Edgar, now we are going to test your English teacher. You will have to draw for us a difference between a threat and a caution, as per his statement. I am going to read. I am going to read. No, I will read the statement and you tell me whether it is a caution or it is a threat, as it was said by Mr. Mona.
Okay.
So the statement goes, people who are already Ghanaians and already registered are going to be taken out of the voters register. Don't think confusion will come at the registration station, but if confusion comes there, you think the EC staff will be safe? We will beat each other there and we will kill each other there if that is what the EC wants to lead this nation to. Is it a caution or a threat?
That is a threat. To what extent
Mr. Mona
is
promised to bring his English teacher to tell us that this is a caution, not a threat.
This is a threat. This is a threat, Mona.
Mona, is this a caution really?
I'm sure that if you look, the underlying word if is a conditional statement. And I said if the electoral commission insists on doing what they are intending to do, it will bring about confusion. And if
so that becomes a question.
Yeah, if there is confusion, see, I come from an environment where we respect our chiefs, we respect our elders. You come to a community and you come and tell me that I don't have a passport. By the way, passport is a travel document.
Yes.
How many people living in Kampala?
Not many, my dear.
Have passports.
Not many.
It is only because people pay for the acquisition of passport. It is only when somebody have a travel in mind.
Yes, that's when they get the passport.
Begin to process a passport.
Even here in
now
Uganda.
the Electoral Commission of Ghana says that to qualify to be a Ghanaian, you must own a passport.
To be a Ghanaian, someone has to be
you must be a Ghanaian before you can register to vote.
Oh,
so
yes.
it means to qualify to be a Ghanaian, you must own a passport.
Which is
and
unrealistic.
I said, no, how many? Because if you go to my village, I am privileged to have a passport.
But the entire village of over 2,000, 3,000 people, there could only be about 5 people having passports.
Yes.
And that will become the basis upon which we are qualified to register to vote. No, don't do that. And if you go there and the chief of my village that we revere, the paramount chief of Sankana, you come to Sankana and say that the paramount chief of Sankana cannot register because he doesn't have a passport and a Ghana card, which was now a document work in progress. If he doesn't have that one, it means that he is not a Ghanaian. You want we, the subjects of the chief, to say that our chief is not a chief of our village, and therefore he will go. We will beat your staff there. There's no doubt about that. And if we are beating your staff, you will send the police to come and beat us. When the police come, there will be confusion. They will want to shoot. We will throw stones. We will kill each other.
That is inciting violence.
You understand? It's not. It was to caution the Electoral Commission that you were taking us through a perilous path. Be cautioned that if you go on that path, there will be chaos. In any case, being a Ghanaian, or let me put it, being a Ugandan, it's not because you have acquired a passport.
Yeah, very decent.
It is because your parents are Ugandans. Your grandparents are Ugandans. Or you were born in Uganda before independence. And so, therefore, I am a Ghanaian by parentage, not because of a mere document. Indeed, I am older than the document that I have. I am older than the Ghana card, which we call the ECOWAS identity card that we are into. I'm older. You just started it. So how can that then determine that I am a citizen? It is not. So I caution the Electoral Commission. And then all of a sudden a certain minister go and sit on the radio and say that they should arrest me, and the police in their usual decided that they will send me. Now take this. The police sent me an invite on Thursday, inviting me to the police headquarters. They didn't say come on Friday. They didn't say come on Saturday. They didn't say come on Sunday. They didn't say come on Monday. They said come on Tuesday. Assuming that you say that my pronouncements were inimical to nationhood, why would you give me over all that time to come to you? If my statement was that poisonous, you should just come for me and say that I made some pronouncements that are violent in nature. But because you yourself realized that it was not, so I said, sorry, I don't know who taught them English. But I cannot blame them because English is not our mother tongue. So I'll permit them, because if they understood English, this is a statement they will not invite me on. They would rather caution the Electoral Commission to be wary that all of us, including them, the police, some of them don't even know when they were born. And you know that it's part of our African, depending on which environment you come from. We were born and then they will go and use charcoal to write your date of birth. That is if there is an illiterate in your community. Charcoal to write on a wall somewhere. When it rains, it wipes away. So now they will be using, oh, you don't remember that day that when we were going to do the interview with Mr. Mona, it rained? That was the day I was born. How do you calculate that date? And so many people don't even know their date of birth. They only know that they were born to Ghanaian parentage, and therefore they are Ghanaians. So being a citizen of a country is not because you own a passport or you own a Ghana card or you own a Ugandan card or a citizenship card. It is because by parentage you are a Ghanaian.
Yeah, so you're entitled to.
So sorry, I didn't threaten. I cautioned.
We are still on the Mighty Drive. It is Mr. Bernard Mona. It is really an interesting debate right here as we're talking, and we are learning. Binji byabadde ayogerako erimu abatanda oluzungu omanyi na rosi lulimi lwaffe. So abadde ayogera ku bintu bingi, ayogedde ku Ghana, ayogedde ku zaale bwe, ayogedde we yava, ayogedde ki ekimusindika paka waali wano. Byonna abadde akyabyogera ku kyali naye wano ku Mighty Drive. Nabagambye ono omwami ava mu ggwanga erya Ghana. Musajja munnabyabufuzi ayagala nnyo ebintu by'okulwanira ddembe, muntu akkiriza mu nkola eya omanyi equality. so tubadde tukyali naye wano ng'ate atunnyonnyolamu era nga tusooke tudde ewuwe ewa omwami Bernard Mona. Now let's talk about politics and the youths, because in Uganda here we have a generation that has cropped up, and the older generation has failed to realize that the people who were once children have now become old. The dispensation here has failed to realize that, 35 years down the road, a person who was young now has a child, and the child is also growing. We have seen a lot of youths being suppressed. If you didn't know, Mr. Mona, in this country, people are abducted. People are just taken away in safe house. They don't even call you and tell you that, we are going to pick you. No, we've picked you because of this particular reason. But many youths, particularly age bracket 18 to 25 years, young people who are just looking for a better country, have been abducted. Some are tortured, some die. And some, when they come back, you can just look at their body and you don't want to know what they have been through. So a lot of youths have been sidelined. Mona, how is it in Ghana? And you can just juxtapose for us and just tell us, how do we as a country handle this particular, how do the old and the youth find a consensus to make sure that we drive our politics forward and not just just sidelining them and telling them that youths you're just inciting violence and you just the opposition. How can we do that, Mr. Mona?
Well, I feel very disappointed, particularly in the political leadership that we have in Africa generally. I feel that they are a club of self-seeking individuals,
yes,
whom we have described as presidents. And by virtue of the fact that we have described them as president, they continue to do things their own style. In fact, some of them think that they are running monarchies.
Yes.
To the extent that they don't want other people to come in. It is a problem that we have in Senegal, where President Paul Biya hardly even stay in Senegal. Cameroon.
Yes.
Hardly stays in Cameroon because by the research that I have done, in a year he can only stay in Cameroon for about 3 months maximum. The rest of the months he is in France. Of course, Paris is excited to have a president who is siphoning and his state resources are being used. If you go to Senegal, Cameroon, you see the kind of atrocious brutalities that are meted out to particularly people of the Amazonian region, where President Maurice Kamto won the elections and then they deny him, they arrested him and they bastardized him. If you go to Togo, you don't see a different story, where President Iyadima served about 35 years. He changed term limits. And eventually he died on the throne, and quickly they muscled his son to be on the seat. So for 17 years now, his son is also president and is also leading the country. So it becomes a dynasty. In Equatorial Guinea, you find the same story there. And the story continues. In Uganda from 1986, and I have watched in shock that at a certain time when we thought that, look, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was one of the icons, vibrant Pan-Africanists, who was speaking so lucidly about an integrated Africa and all the benefits that it portends for us. All of a sudden has become such a very beastly president towards the people of Uganda. I feel very devastated and frustrated. Worst of all is that, look, today, after several years, Yoweri Museveni and then Parliament put a cap on the age limit. They also put term limits. He goes to Parliament and allow our usually pathetic parliaments in Africa, using parliamentary majority, to take away the term limits, to allow Kaguta to continue to be president. Then again, they come, when age had caught up with him at 75, they come and say, no, we are taking away the age limit.
And they didn't just come. Soldiers entered the August House and beat up legislators.
And then
I've never heard.
You understand? Now, when you juxtapose that with what happened in Nigeria when Olusegun Obasanjo decided that he was going to change the term limit, and he took his own vice president, then Abubakar decided that, no, look, we put this term limit because no one person is the repository of knowledge.
Yes.
And therefore, we should allow for change. Abubakar stood up, Atiku. He stood up and fought. Of course, he incurred the displeasure of Obasanjo, but the motion was defeated because Obasanjo did not get the extension of term limit. Now, if you take the fact of African hero who passed away recently, Magufuli, who Parliament decided that they were going to initiate a motion to take away the term limit. He said no. No, he has come to serve. And he came on the back that if other people had extended terms, he would not be president. And therefore, he opposed it. He did not even allow them to initiate.
Country beyond self.
You understand? So he took up the responsibility. So just imagine, you see how God works. He opposed it. Unfortunately, his time came, he died. Assuming he had accepted it on the personal reason, and then time came for him to go and join the ancestors. So this thing that we are doing, majority of the people, and see, when I see particularly young people running and, clouding around Kaguta, I'm like, hey, go and ask Professor Karuhangaa. Go and ask the former Prime Minister. Go and ask Miriam Matembi. All these people worked with Kaguta. Why did they fall out? Because they fell out. Because they realized that the undemocratic tendencies of somebody who promised so much are becoming too much. And yet, many don't see it. And so what I say is that, look, when you have debt or you write something on the blackboard and it's not good, you look for any rag to clean it. It's not because the rag is so nice, but because you have to clean something. The people of Uganda, and in particular, I want to urge the opposition to rally behind one, as we did in the Gambia. We had to rally, we had to talk to the opposition. I was in the struggle in the Gambia. And then we worked together. Adama Barrow, obviously, was not the lucid president or leader that they wanted. In fact, majority of the opposition, including Yahya Jammeh, who was the president, did not believe that an Adama Barrow could defeat him. Okay? But they mobilized and Barrow came. The people, seeing a united front, voted for Barrow, to the surprise and shock of Yahya Jammeh. Don't forget that he was more than an iron-handed person. He killed about 44 Ghanaians. I was personally sought for in the Gambia. Only God knows how I was able to escape his wrath. And eventually change came to the Gambia. Today, the people of Gambia have the opportunity to determine whether they want to continue with Barrow or they want to call for a new person to come and take them to the promised land. I think that is important. Look, at the age of 42, Kwame Nkrumah was the leader of government business. At the age of 35, Prime Minister Lumumba had secured independence for the Congo. Even Kaguta, at what age did he come to lead Uganda?
40.
So it means that they look down upon the very energy that brought them and catapulted them into power. They look down because at that age they have zeal, they have passion, they had determination. They wanted to do something for their own. So today we are of that age. You don't think that we are competent to lead.
That is what they were telling him.
You understand?
You're looking at Robert Chagulanyi. You are looking at yourself. That is how you
I mean, you were younger than that when you were in the struggle.
Yeah.
And today you don't think that those persons are qualified to lead. Then you are a disaster of a leader. Because you see, anybody that grooms people. Look, I have Professor Akilakpa Sawyer. When I worked as the secretary to the Kwame Nkrumah Centenary Planning Committee, and Professor Akilakpa Sawyer will guide. And one day he just got up. And these professors don't sleep, by the way. Professor Akilakpa Sawyer will get up midnight, send an email, and think that, the next morning, I will also wake up that midnight and respond to the email. So one day he just called me and said, Bernard, I have met many people, but I don't see people with your kind of energy. Because I think that young people sleep a lot. But I send an email, less than 5 minutes, you are able to read that email at whatever hour, you respond to it, we are able to work. Because, look, I was inviting presidents across the continent to come to Ghana to come and celebrate the illustrious son of Africa, Kwame Nkrumah. And so, at a stage, President Akilakpa Sawyer walked to the president of Ghana and said that if you are looking for a young man who can help you succeed, look at Bernard Mona because everybody knows Professor Akila Pasoya as a no-nonsense person who will take or settle for the highest mark. And now he comes to do the recommendation to the President of the Republic that these young people have a lot to tell. And he is a professor that he will come and tell you, let's go for lunch. As soon as he proposes, let's go for lunch, and you agree, he'll tell you, but why should we go for lunch when we have work to do? You must justify why his own proposal is acceptable. Yeah. And therefore, we should have leaders. What does Kaguta want to achieve again? What does the people around Kaguta think that Kaguta can do that they cannot do?
But they can do.
But they themselves can do that they think that, look, for instance, the Speaker of Parliament cannot become president. The Deputy Speaker, Olanya, cannot become president. So if you think that it is Kaguta that must be president for you to continue to be hangers on, you are a failure yourself.
Yeah, by the way.
Before you chip in, Edgar, I want to take Mr. Bernard a little bit back, as when he gave us an example of when you write on a blackboard and then you look for a rag. Is no matter whether it is really dirty or whether it can erase properly, but you get it because you want to erase something, and you erase it up. Now I want to bring it to real life in politics, because he was using, Ugandans don't understand those images. So I want to bring it back here so that he can really defend his example. Okay, you want to remove, let's say, President Museveni.
Yeah.
And you bring someone, no matter the incompetency. In Uganda here, they call them people.
Who determines and who defines competence? How competent was Yoweri at the age of 40 when he took over?
Bankrupt. So you bring such a person because now you want to remove it.
Who is ideologically bankrupt? I noticed at the time when, was it David Cameron had come to talk about African countries, nations that will not reform their laws to accept, what do we call them? A man sleeping with a man or marrying a man? Yeah, so a man goes and open your ass for another man to come and trust. That is insanity, right?
Yeah.
And then I noticed, of course, that time my priest Yahya Jammeh said, well, try it in my country. It will kill you. Mugabe said, okay, anybody who wants to marry a man or a woman wants to marry another woman, we'll put you in one room for 2 years. When you give us a baby, we'll sanction your marriage. Nigeria, overnight, they passed a law. I heard Kaguta saying that they will not allow it. Just with a little pressure, he went back on the issue, on that statement. So who is flame panting? Who is ideologically consistent? So ideological inconsistency can be manifested from what I'm saying, and I'm sure that you know better than I do. You understand? And I've seen many, he takes a stance. America come and say, no, this stance you have taken, we don't agree. Then he gets back, he somersaults, goes to parliament, use the majority to go and change the laws. And I'm saying that all those who run with Kaguta in the last election, all of them are competent to lead the nation Uganda. If they are not competent, it is for the Ugandan people to determine at the next elections. But for me, and where I sit, it was important to wipe the slate of Kaguta and bring in, and in this particular instance, it was Chagulani, who had proven that he had the capacity, he had the charisma, he had the ideas to sell. But I have a problem with our political leadership. When I'm doing my political manifestations, my son is 15 years old. He participates in me going on the streets. And sometimes I tell people, my son is my best security. Because when the police, for instance, are coming to arrest me, from where he stands, he sees. And he runs to me and says, Daddy, you are in trouble. And I said, why? He said, they are coming. I heard them saying that they should pick you up. Daddy, I'm going back. So he goes back to stand somewhere, follow the crowd, and know that his daddy will be in danger. And I tell him, don't worry. 2 pages of my book of life have been written. The introduction page has been written by God. The conclusion page has been written by God. The introduction is my birth. The conclusion is my death. I have to now fill in the columns. What I am doing, I am filling in those columns. So I don't care. That's why I keep telling them that you want my life, I will donate it to you. Free. You don't need to struggle. Just come, I will tell you, take my life. But what I stand for, you cannot take away. Even in my grave, I'll be excited that I died for a cause. Yeah. By the way, it was Marcus Garvey that said that those who fear to die will die anyway. Won't you die?
I will.
You will not die? And so, do you know when you are dying?
No.
So why are you not filling your book of life? Fill the pages. Introduction, birth. Conclusion, death. In between, live that life. So take away that fear and let yourself be manifested and be present. That is the only way we can bring about change. If our forebears feared, would have still been under colonial subjugation.
Yes.
Kwame Nkrumah put up his life. Poor Patrice Lumumba, that they will come after him, he put up his life. Thomas Sankara put up his life. Yes. Magufuli put up his life. He was poisoned.
Oh, that is an allegation. We're not sure. They say
he was
heart failure.
He was poisoned before even he died of this heart failure. He was poisoned, just like Kwame Nkrumah. Oh. Kwame Nkrumah was poisoned slowly because, unfortunately, before Kwame Nkrumah could know, they started changing his kitchen staff, only for him to realize, even whilst he was in Guinea, that the person they brought to come and be cooking for him was working with the Americans at the American embassy. So by the time he got to know, it was too late. And that is why Amilcar Cabral described in Guinea in 1972 that Kwame Nkrumah did not die of cancer, that he died of cancer of betrayal.
Oh, it's still the Mighty Drive. We're having, a fountain of knowledge right here. Mr. Bennett Mona, he has really prescribed a lot for us and how we can develop our country and our continent at large. Let me bring, Mr. Bennett, let me bring some knowledge to you. The media in Uganda here, us, we are the fourth estate. And I believe we are a pillar that has really run this country. That is a fourth wheel for, if this were, the media is also a fourth wheel. But the media in Uganda has gone through a lot. Journalists have been beaten. A lot. A lot.
Probably it's a universal thing. Ghana, they are killed in them, even in this regime.
So what do we do? How do we stop this? How is it? How do these African leaders realize that this is our role? This is our purpose. We are unity, and we also part of the economy, and we are part of the people. Why should we be subjected to?
I've been in Uganda for the past 3 days, obviously at the invitation and instance of Professor Karuhangaa when he launched his book, a fantastic book. Yes. And ever since I've been here, I can tell you that I'm enjoying the oral rendition of history. The many parts that he puts together, his personal life and what Uganda has been. And I keep asking myself, why is he not giving national honors, given the role that he has played? He appears to feel unaccomplished, that there is much more for him to do. Unfortunately, his energy level and health is going down, and he doesn't see that kind of vibrancy and determination in the young people to be able to push Uganda to the frontiers that he wants Uganda to be at. Now, you see, the media largely is becoming a rented press in Africa. How are you paid? I hope you understand. How are you paid? The media will have to survive. They are also human beings. They have families to take care of. You have to look for your accommodation to pay your rent. You have to pay your bills. And so those who do not have the power to go on hunger in order to do their stories will start becoming sellouts. So when they come to me and I do an interview that is not favorable to the order, they carry the interview and go and give it to the people and say, see what they have said about it, I'm going to broadcast it. They say, Bwana, why are you going to publish this one? No, we'll sort you out. So people come actually to interview you, take your story, they'll go to the appropriate to sell the story, and then the story will never get published, and I'm sure you know that.
Yes.
In Uganda, it's happening, just as it's happening in Ghana. And so our presidents have bought the conscience of the large part of our media. I have come to Uganda. I can't access my Facebook account. I do a lot of stuff on my Facebook. Why would anybody close down social media? Because some people can reach me on Facebook. People that I have lost communication with in the globe. They go to my Facebook and then they do request. Oh, is that you? We have lost communication with you. We have lost your telephone number. We want to get in touch with you. And so I get messages, reminders on my Facebook. Ever since I landed here, I tried to get into Facebook and I cannot. Why? Because the Ugandan government think that Facebook is a threat because they are magnifying the consciousness of the young people, and therefore they should shut Facebook. You sat down this thing before the elections, after the elections, Facebook is shut down. Facebook is not just for communicating political ideas, but it is also a business environment. People use it to make their money. So when you shut down, yes, people get employed on that. You as a government have failed to provide the needed employment for the majority of people that we are churning out from our various institutions. That is those who have gone into some institutions. And those who are not in institutions. As I walked through Kampala, I saw people begging, and you could see somebody will carry water and be running on the streets just for one to be bought. And that is what they are going to survive on. It is a mark of the failings of our African leadership that look at how bestiality has eaten all of us up. And so now when the media talk in Ghana, some media that reported the nastiness of operations of government officials, some of them have been murdered. Ahmed Swali was murdered because he did a story. And an MP of the ruling government says, I know where that man lives. If he comes around, I'll let my boys beat him. And then they go and kill that boy. And up to date, government is quiet about it. A journalist that says that the president of Ghana was housing militia in the old presidency, and he went there to bring up the video. That journalist's life became a threat that another institution had to carry him out of the country to South Africa. Another journalist go to report the dealings of a minister who was talking to a judge to release some Chinese people from jail so that they don't suffer. Then Edward Adeti, as soon as he says that, they started issuing threats to him and his family. And so the media space is being killed. But you see, it is like a calabash. If you push a calabash with all your energy, it doesn't matter the quantity of water that you dip the calabash in. By the time you lift your hand, the calabash will afloat. So those in the helm of affairs now, who think that they can gag our media, they can force us. They should not forget one thing, that in Ghana they say you can force your donkey to the riverside. You can't force the donkey to drink the water. And that at any point in time when we have no other option of expressing our dissent, it will turn into violence in us. And when that violence comes, no army can defeat you. It doesn't matter the number of soldiers you put on the streets. In any case, when the soldier comes on the street and fires, and only to realize that he gets home and that one of the persons who was killed is that his daughter or the son, and tomorrow you ask that soldier to go and shoot again, he will put the gun back because he realizes that he is already killing his own. And so we will continue to agitate, because our continent deserves better than we have. And I say deserve better, and let me quickly move on to some platform that, look, it is of ridiculous use to have the East African Economic Community, to have the Economic Community of West African State, to have the Southern Africa Development Community. It's useless.
Why do you say that?
It's useless. Are we one continent? We are. When I came here, I was eating matoke, which I have in a different version in Ghana. When I go to Uganda, I eat ugali, which we eat as awokole in Ghana, in different names and what have you. I get banana, I peel it. The things that I see in Ghana, I see them here. Artificial boundaries are responsible for the fragmentation of Africa. By the way, when they were doing the Berlin conference, did you see any African go to participate that want Africa to be partitioned?
No.
It was some Europeans who have no roots in Africa who went and sat there and decided that they want to partition Africa. No African participated in the Berlin conference. Give me one. So this was a decision taken outside of us. We were not part of the decision making. So ab initio, that partitioning is illegal and unacceptable. Why are African leaders endorsing that petitioning? The partitioning of Africa. Why? Now, you form East Africa Economic Community. They are doing things. So when the European Union wanted to bring about the Economic Partnership Agreement and they suffered so much resistance, they decided to deal with regional blocks. So they got to ECOWAS, and ECOWAS was able to rectify it. So countries like Ghana and Nigeria that were not interested, because it was a block decision, it means that they are compelled to also accept that decision. Now, tell me, what are the conditions, the time limit that ECOWAS is working for us to see a continental unification? What are the time limits, the conditions that the Economic Community of East Africa put in place to ensure that by this time we are transiting from the AEC, you understand, into a full-blown continental government? Tell me what SADC is doing to see that we move, and that the year one, these are the things we have to do so that we get to the greater continental unity. So the African unity is actually a useless caricature.
Yeah,
you can call in on our studios and talk to our guests. Our studio line 0789 017 145 0789 017 145. You can call in and talk to our guest. It is a one-time chance. You may not find another opportunity to talk to Bennett Mona live in studio, so we are giving you this chance to talk to him.
By the way, on a sad note, Mama, the same mother to Barack Obama passed on today. Right now, we just got the information right now that she has passed on, so it's an unfortunate bit. And
it is good to sympathize with the dead and then the dead family. But Barack Obama became one of the potent tools to be used to ravage African leader, President Gaddafi. You do know that. Yeah, that it was under his term they used. So even as is of African descent, they again used him to cause that damage to the African progress. Obviously, Gaddafi had many deficits. But one of the things you can't take away from him is his desire to see a continental government. And he was interested in a continental currency. And I have not seen one country in the continent that Gaddafi projects cannot be seen. Gaddafi obviously was pushing for us to unite, right? And that unity would have meant so much, not for the people of Libya, but for the people of the continent of Africa. Somebody of African descent was used to send his Secretary of State. It was the day Hillary Clinton got to Tripoli. Was it Tripoli? Yes, she got there, that she ordered that Gaddafi should be killed in that bizarre and, manner. And it was done. And so even as I sympathize with the Barack family on the passing of the mother, I have a beef with Gaddafi, with Barack for what he has done. He has sent Africa decades back. See, continental calls used to go through France or England. You know that. Because we didn't have our own satellites. And we're paying so much money. It took Gaddafi to invest over 300 million for the African project. Could not put money. The World Bank would not put money. And yet they knew that every Africa was paying over 440 million as royalties to the telecom in England. And so, for instance, if you are an Anglophone country, you are Ghanaian, and you want to make a call to just near, that call had to go through UK and then come back to Togo. If you were also from Togo, you had to make a call to Ghana. That call had to be routed through Paris before it get. All these things Gaddafi stopped. In stopping that, Europe lost so much money. They came after him. They killed him. And Gaddafi was killed because Obama was a tool.
But how do we achieve this now? Because now we cannot bring back Gaddafi, but how do we achieve a United States of Africa right now?
Fortunately, the lives of Kwame Nkrumah, Modibo Keita, Sekou Touré, Patrice Lumumba, Jirio Nyerere are not there. In their time, they talked and put action to see a continental unity. Communication was limited. Today, young people of Africa can communicate. Tomorrow, I'll be doing a conference on youth eligibility into elections, hosted in Harare, whilst I'm in Uganda. Okay? On Wednesday, I'll be doing a conference hosted in South Africa, whilst I am in Kampala. So now, we, the young people of Africa, has a better chance of fostering continental unification than our leaders of old, who did not have, but who saw that it is only in a united continent that the African can continue to have a place under the sun. And in the year 1997, when Julius Nyerere came at the 40th independence anniversary of Ghana, and I was a young man, and he said, Kwame Nkrumah was right when he said Africa must unite. They who opposed Kwame Nkrumah at the time were wrong. And that if Africans and African children want to continue to have a place under the sun, there cannot be an alternative. Africa must unite. Who doubts the place of Julius Nyerere? He left office without a bicycle. Kwame Nkrumah, his garment that he was wearing, you could see inscribed on them, property of the Republic of Ghana. Things he was wearing. He left office without even a house. Probably I'm fortunate to have a house before probably any leadership. So these are the selfless leaders, and they told us in their writings, in their actions, that Africa must unite. It is for you to begin today to constitute that bloc that will talk to our brothers in Tanzania, talk to our brothers in Rwanda. By the way, I see that Kenyans, all of you have the same looks. From East Africa, you have the same looks. You are the same blood. I am even told that by ancestry, Yoweri Museveni comes from Rwanda. That is the things I've read. So we are one people. I am told that at one point, an MP in this country, his brother was the vice president in Kenya. So it tells you that after all, we are one. I have the general secretary of the main opposition political party in Ghana, Asedu Nketia, whose brother was the governor of Bunduku in Cote d'Ivoire. So just brother. So you can see that we are the same people. We are together. What we have not done is that we have not been able to yank ourselves of that imposition that was done by some people, excluding Africans in Berlin.
Let's talk about your activism spirit, because it once led you to leave your country and seek refuge in Kenya because of the because of the threats to your life. Why it is alleged that some activists do activism for political positions. Why wouldn't you just maintain your activism without seeking these political positions? Is it true that you people engage in activism for you to be seen and then come out and stand for political positions?
Well, there are two sides to it. Yes, but politics is an immaculate enterprise. And say it's an immaculate enterprise because politics tells us how we should farm. I see in Uganda now that because of the bad politics, Chinese, permit me, but Chinese are acquiring large tracts of land,
Yeah, that is true.
venturing into agriculture. So they are Chinanizing our agriculture, and by virtue, they are also Chinanizing the kind of food we eat.
Yes.
Okay? Why? Politics. No amount of activism will lead us out of this if those activists who think that there must be a change of the order decide to play football at the touch lines? Can you score a goal from the touch line? You are playing football from the touch lines. And you are a spectator, so you are there, you are jumping. Oh, it should have been a goal. He should have headed the ball. He should have chested the ball. You should be in the field to chest the ball.
You want to just look on.
No, you can't look on and be shouting, hey, go, go. It will not work. So activists must not just stay on the periphery and say that, no, we want to keep everything in shape. You must take center stage. Once you are an activist, you must take center stage. So take your activism from just beyond the street and manifest it. And that is how we can bring about change. Politics is not a bad idea. But there are bad people who have taken control of politics. And I tell you, if you, the good people, don't come into politics, you will consume the bad things that the bad politicians churn out. Because see, if you have a drug baron elected as an MP, other drug barons will come into parliament.
Yes.
If I have a money launderer, or people have sponsored somebody to parliament, he will go and be defending the rights of money launderers. Why do you think that we have the gay rights movement going on? Because they have decided that they will sponsor people to go and be acceptable in parliament. When they go to parliament, they have to defend their masters. So don't play second, play in the middle of the game. And I'm saying that every activist must be ready, not just to die, but also to take up the leadership to actualize your dream.
Bernard, we are coming to the end of the show. Allow me just ask you, in conclusion, to just talk about what are some of the lessons we learn from the African history that can help, because the future is determined by the past. So what are some of those lessons we've learned from the Kwame Nkrumahs, from the Patrice Lumumbas of this world, and from all those icons of Africa that were there before? What do we learn from them as the young people today, and how will what we learn, how do we implement it to the future to make Africa a better continent at large, and the world at large?
One of the things that we have learned is that, look, no one person is the storehouse of knowledge, and that at some point in time, even the people who help you to succeed, they themselves also want to occupy the seat that you have. When your father is a chief, it means that there's royalty in you. So you also expect that one day you become a chief. Not so. If your father doesn't die, will you become a chief? You understand? But you also want that you become a chief. And so when you have governments or presidents who don't want to exit the scene, it doesn't matter what you do for your people, they get tired. And I spoke at the book launch and I said, look, when you put water in your mouth for too long, it becomes saliva. Saliva is an uncomfortable thing to keep in the mouth. You spit it out. So the Yoweri Musevenis of today must know that it doesn't matter how good they have been. They have become water that has been kept in the mouth for too long. At this stage, the only way we can get comfortable is to get them out. True. It was part of the reason why they succeeded to get Gaddafi out. It is part of the reason why Mugabe could not stay for long. It is part of the reason why Blaise Compaoré was taken out in Burkina Faso. It is part of the reason why Yahya Jammeh had to leave the scene, even that he's young, because he's not older than us for any. He's just in his 50s. Because he has been there for long, it was time to go. Water kept in the mouth for too long become poison. It has become saliva. It is not comfortable to contain. It will be spitted out whether you like it or not. And so I am saying, in whatever way it will come, I can bet. I'm not advocating for a violent overthrow of governments. I would never do that. But one of the things that is certain is that whether they like it or not, they will go. And so, look, we have learned that in African leadership, some people must go. Of course, Kwame Nkrumah and others also had their mistakes. You understand? One of the mistakes people talk about, but I ask, is that Kwame Nkrumah came, he was the first to get an African portion to be independent. He introduced a currency. He introduced a flag and an anthem. So others that also succeeded in getting independence quickly had to introduce different national flags, national anthems, coat of arms. Now, people say that it's difficult to bring the coat of arms together. It's difficult to fuse the national anthems together. And I said, are you serious? Kwame Nkrumah talked about a continental currency in the early 60s. That is the only way. So we could have an Afri or an Afro as the African currency. Several years after that, you go to the Maastricht a conference that was held in Europe, and they talked about the euro. So Germany had to collapse its currency. France had to collapse its currency. Italy collapsed its currency. All the other countries collapsed. So today, 27 European countries have a single. It is now the second most valued currency aside the pound. It has come to dominate the dollar. Africa, we are still sitting here.
Bennett, lastly, what's your vision to Africa?
Africa must unite by force or by persuasion. We can't continue to be. By the way, you know that Africa has the largest landmass. African landmass is about 30.5 million square millimeters. The United States of America has about 10.2 million square kilometers. The entire Europe is about 11 million square kilometers. If you go to China, it is about 9 point something million square. When you add America, United States of America, you add the entire Europe, you add China, you can fit it in the Africa, and there will still be space. Why is Europe richer than Africa? When in terms of resources, natural endowment,
in terms of climate,
and everything. Why is America richer than Africa? Why is China richer than Africa? Why is the world map portraying that Africa is just small? Just go and take the world map, and I'm sure when you live here, go and look at Africa where it is placed on the world map, and go and look at China alone. They make China look too big. China is not 1/4 or 1/3 of Africa's landmass. Okay? The United States is 1/3 of the Africa landmass. But you see the United States on the world map is big. You see Europe is expanded big. Then they go and put Africa. So the world map alone is a deception.
We need to fact check it.
They must change the world map to represent the proportion of land that Africa occupies.
Bennett, we've come to the end of the show. Just give us your parting shots I'll give you a minute to just give us your parting shots and your last messages to everybody watching you, not only Ugandans, because Alternative is watched by different countries. People in South Africa are watching you, people in Egypt are watching you, people in Ghana are watching you. What is your last message to everybody watching Mr. Bennett Mona today?
I just want every person within our continent to know that there is hope, but that in order to achieve the luminous summit, there must be struggle. That struggle, which was led by our forefathers, was just the first step. We have a bigger struggle today to manifest the continental unification, to stop the Chinization of our agriculture, to stop the Europeanization of our culture, to stop the virtual auctioning of our continent to other foreign interests. Our heads of states now are excited to receive some foreigners as what they call foreign aid. They don't talk about local investment, they talk about foreign investment. Our heads of state are excited to be talking about local content. You live in your country or you are in your house. Somebody is coming into your house and you say that no, you want to introduce local content. So it means that foreign content should be bigger than local content. No, it should rather be the introduction of what foreign content can we have in the industrialization, in the development of the African continent. But that will not come on a silver platter. It must come by way of struggle. You should struggle. You should join the forces for change. You should join the progressive forces of Africa so that together we'll have a common agenda that will be able to clean and wipe this slate and bring about new leadership that thinks of continental progress.
Thank you so much, Bennett Mona, for being at the Mighty Drive show today on the Alternative Uganda. I think I'm going to give the chance to the only female on the panel today, Ms. Farida Bikobere, to just take us out from here today.
You didn't ask him, Mona, his opinions. He should tell us.
Yeah, you should tell us some of your like moments. What do you like to do in your time when you are alone?
I do clubbing.
Oh, okay.
I club a lot. Unfortunately, Corona. I don't know how to dance your music, but I do clubbing when I'm tired. And of course, I do play basketball and yeah, but of course we find a way to go and have it. But they are not, the restrictions are not as rigid as I see around. But one thing I do know is that many people know me to be not just a sports lover, but I participate in sports. Even as of now, I still go and play volleyball, basketball. When I have free moments in the evening. Friday, don't expect me at home.
You are a party animal.
Yes, I'll go out and then I'll get back on Saturday in the afternoon. I just like to go and then...
life is too short.
We have no option, and of course I love my culture. So you will see that ever since I came, I've been dressing in my fugu. I want you
How
to...
is this called?
It is called smoke. The English name is smoke. Locally we call it fugu. And this actually is supposed to be a northern wear and largely used by royals.
Oh, it looks really so glamorous and beautiful, yeah.
I love to Africanize. And so whilst I was even schooling in Europe, in Germany, it was only once I wore a suit and I was looking very ugly. I was looking very ugly because I put on a tie and I'm like, yeah, we put on a rope on a goat to be pulling along in Africa. Look at me putting on a tie. But I think that we have good African fabrics. Yeah. The only way they can be used, and those who are into that industry, is that we should wear them. So if our heads of states are patronizing, our ministers are patronizing the African fabrics, we'll be creating market, we'll be creating employment, we'll be creating income for those in those industries. Unfortunately, we patronize European goods. And when I was walking on the streets of Kampala yesterday, just as in every other city, I found what we call the bend-down boutique, where they go and bring second-hand clothing and people have to go and bend down and take and look at it. I call it... Yeah.
That one is a new...
It's been an honor having you, Mr. Mona, and that thank you so much for joining us. We hope
it's my pleasure.
The next time we host you will be in Ghana.
Absolutely, because I want to see you come to Ghana, and then I will personally invite you to come to Ghana.
I also, by the way, love clubbing. Tomorrow we have Prince Nativinga, Timbogwe in the studio. See you tomorrow.
Morning. Thank you so much very much.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the Alternative Dig Talk. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyannema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the alternative digital etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugenda mu maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop and smart TVs as we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the Alternative Dig Talk.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.